Record voting in Texas. It's going to be a big political year.
Local bar owners rejoice as they're finally allowed to reopen their stores.
And one of the biggest air shows in Texas is back with special COVID restrictions.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Michael Matthews.
And I'm Nomi Sanchez. They say that everything is bigger in Texas, and this election year is no exception. Texas shattered early voting records with over 500,000 votes so far. ntTV's Michaela Bryce has more information on yesterday's voting kickoff. Mackenzie?
Voter turnout yesterday with over 500,000 ballots cast in Dallas and Collin County. The surrounding areas of Tarrant, Harris, and Travis County had record-shattering numbers of early votes as well, with Tarrant having over 42,000, Harris having over 41,000, and Travis having over 35,000. The pace of early voting continues to rise during this unprecedented year as 14 million voters across the country cast their ballots. And more to come as we steer closer to the November 3rd election. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Mackenzie. It looks like everything really is bigger in Texas. No matter how long the lines are, Texans don't seem to care. CNN's Kristen Holmes tells us more.
It started before dawn.
Everybody's come out to vote here. Lines around the corner.
Thousands of people waiting hours for early in-person voting.
I just came out, so I would say about 2.5 hours.
And drive-through voting in Texas Tuesday. In Harris County, which includes Houston, the highest turnout during early voting ever. And that count came hours before the polls even closed, with lines still out the door. All the enthusiasm after waking up to news of a late-night ruling upholding Republican Governor Greg Abbott's directive limiting ballot drop boxes to 1 per county, a major issue for densely populated counties where voters could spend more than an hour driving just to cast their vote.
More than 50 miles in some cases to drop off their mail ballot. It's unfair, it's prejudicial, and it's dangerous.
Good morning, everyone.
The day not without mishaps.
We are aware of some glitches in our voting system.
Fort Bend County now extending voting hours by 2 hours this week to compensate for lengthy waits due to widespread voting issues. It came a day after a similar start in Georgia, where voters waited for hours to cast their ballots.
I want to be out here and to be able to share my voice.
Georgia setting an early voting record with nearly 127,000 ballots cast on day one. Tuesday, no different. More voters, more long lines. In Gwinnett County, some voters sitting in line for 8 hours, determined to be heard no matter the obstacles.
So many people have sacrificed before us. So it's almost a spin in their face if we don't take the time to show our kids that they have this right and it's best used as early as possible.
More than 10.5 million Americans have already cast their ballots in this election. 6 million of them in the most competitive states in the country. In the battleground state of Ohio, more than 193,000 people already voting early in person, tripling the roughly 64,000 at the same time in 2016.
Speaking of voting, we had a special appearance in Dallas yesterday. Nomi, could you tell us more?
Well, Michael, it was a big day for presidential politics here in Texas. Dr. Jill Biden was on the campaign trail for her husband, Joe Biden, who is a heading up Democratic ticket. She was in Dallas, and ntTV's Trevor Newell and Landon Flesher were at the rally, which was a bit different from those in past years.
Yesterday, Dr. Jill Biden visited Dallas in a drive-in rally to urge Texans to vote and advocated for her husband, Joe Biden.
Over these last few years, Joe has faced unimaginable tragedies, but his purpose has always driven him forward. His strength of will is unstoppable.
She was met with a barrage of encouragement in the forms of car horns and signs plastered on car windows. During her rally, she addressed issues from affordable health care to education.
And Joe has a plan to end this pandemic, to rebuild, to reimagine a future that's better than ever. And that means opening up our schools and our daycares safely so parents can go back to work. It means protecting pre-existing conditions and making prescription drugs affordable. It's creating millions of good-paying jobs. But he can't do it without you.
Among the attendees at the event was Representative Mark Vassy, who spoke admirably about the Bidens.
With our background in education, it's going to be education oriented, which is going to be important too because of a lack of coherence from the Trump administration. I think our educational community has sort of been left in a certain level of uncertainty as well. They don't know whether to open, to reopen. They don't know whether or not to, stagger kids in and out the school.
Her rally was timed perfectly to collide with the first day of early voting in Texas. Right now, a poll from the University of Texas currently shows President Donald Trump ahead of Joe Biden by 5 points. This is Trevor Newell reporting for ntTV News.
Well, Michael, although voting is important, knowing our DFW weather is too.
Yes, indeed, Naomi. And I know our own weather reporter, Michelle, has more details on that.
Yes, Michael, fall has come our way, but it might as well still be summer because it looks like the warm weather is bound to stick around. I'm here at the Alliance Fort Worth Airport, where it's what I like to call a beautiful day. There's not a cloud in the sky, and some would even say a perfect day for flying. If you look at our weather conditions back in Denton right now, we are at a temperature of 89 degrees with not a whole lot of variation with a feel like of 86. It is quite windy, you might be able to hear. We have winds coming from the southwest direction at 14 miles per hour. If you take a look at our current conditions for tonight, we are going to experience a drop in temperature at 80 degrees with a feel like of 76. It's not going to be cloudy, and the winds are going to stay about the same coming from the south at 13 miles per hour. If you look into tomorrow, though, we are going to get some relief on that warm weather. We have a high of 74 with a feel like of 72. It's going to be partly cloudy, and it is going to be quite windy with winds of 22 miles per hour from the northeast. I'll have more on the warm weather across Texas later in the show. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Michelle. In the middle of all the politics around us, Broadway is getting involved. The cast of Hamilton will be hosting a virtual fundraiser for Joe Biden. It's all part of a fundraising effort sponsored by the Biden Victory Fund. The cast is getting back together for a special virtual fundraiser this Friday, beginning at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Coming up, we've got an update on COVID vaccines and trials.
And a look at why the weather just doesn't seem to be getting any cooler. Stay with us. After months of bars being closed because of the pandemic, there is good news from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He is easing COVID restrictions and allowing some establishments to reopen with limited capacity. This order is coming despite the fact that infections and hospitalization rates are steadily climbing. Blake Wayland is in the field to tell us more. Blake?
Thank you, Michael. While some bars will be opening their doors for the first time in months, others have been in operation as restaurants. Until now, the only way a bar could be open would be to qualify for a restaurant license by ensuring the sale of alcohol is below 51% of all sales. Under COVID restrictions, bars are required to distance their patrons and have them seated to prevent any spread. Still, public health experts believe reopening bars carries significant risk of transmission, and that reopening too quickly would lead to a widespread. But for many bar owners like those in Denton, the chance to bring their customers back in will mean a lot for their economic survival. Back to you at the studio.
Thank you, Blake, and may everyone going out stay safe, especially with the rising numbers of COVID-19 infections nationwide and the continuous struggles of the vaccine trials. Two of these leading developers of the vaccine were forced to halt their trials after safety concerns in the health of their participants.
COVID-19 isn't easing its grip on the United States.
We're not in a plateau, and we're certainly not going down. This virus is still very much among us.
This is going to be one of the most troubling times in our modern history.
Health experts say the U.S. is facing a COVID-19 surge, one that could overwhelm hospitals.
Not only do we anticipate a fall and winter rise in the number of cases, I'm worried about the deaths significantly going up.
As more than 30 states in the U.S. have seen a rise in new COVID-19 cases in the past week, some medical setbacks. A trial for an antibody treatment from Eli Lilly is halted because of a possible safety issue. This comes one day after Johnson & Johnson said it's pausing an advanced clinical trial of a vaccine for a similar concern.
There are no quick fixes here. This is why we have to do science. I'm actually not discouraged by these, pauses. This is why we do clinical trials. We'll get it right, and we'll have great therapeutics. I'm not really worried about these, speed bumps.
That's why Americans are advised to not let their guard down over the next few months.
This virus can spread among families and friends if you take your mask off and you're primarily indoors.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
But while those trials have been temporarily halted, another one is underway right here in North Texas. Baylor's Scott and White Hospital is conducting trials for a treatment to help COVID-19 patients who have just been diagnosed. The idea is to catch the illness before it becomes severe. And while the first round of treatments have had some success, the testing is still very early in the stages. Well, Michael, these new trials are definitely a sign of hope for the future of COVID-19.
Yes, Nomi, and another good sign is the great weather we have been having. Michelle, is this going to last?
Well, Michael and Nomi, the weather was nice today, but we actually are going to experience a decrease in temperatures in the coming weeks. Before we get into that, though, I want to look at the current conditions across North Texas. Looking at Denton, like I said earlier, we're at 89 degrees. That's pretty similar throughout North Texas, but we do have a low in Paris of 81. Dallas and Fort Worth both remain at 90 degrees. Looking ahead to the current conditions across the region, we have some higher temperatures throughout the region, but we do have a low of 80 in Amarillo, pretty typical up north. As always, hot in El Paso at 91. And in Abilene, we have about the same of 92. So hot again in that western part of Texas. Looking ahead to the 7-day forecast, like I said, Denton's temperatures are going to be dropping, some nice fall weather. On Wednesday today, we had a high of 91 and we have a low of 66. It's going to drop later tonight. Going ahead to Thursday, we're going to have a drop in temperature of 75. Friday, even lower at 72. Saturday, it's going to get a little bit warmer at 79 degrees and Sunday even warmer at 85. It's going to be nice for that air show, though, with some sunny skies. And looking ahead to Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have a pretty similar temperature for both at 79 and 78. That's all I have for full weather. Back to you guys in the studio.
Still feeling the summer heat in mid-October? You're not the only one. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration confirmed that September temperatures proved to be the hottest in recorded history. This gives 2020 a 2-to-1 chance of being the warmest year on record. Scientists say this is mainly due to man-made global warming. Well, the Earth as a whole is getting a whole lot warmer, but the weather this weekend is going to be beautiful. ntTV's Ben Taylor is live at Alliance Airport to tell you how you can enjoy the weather and skies in a very special way. Ben?
Thanks, Michael. Like Michelle said, we are out here at the Alliance Airport, home of the annual Fort Worth Alliance Air Show. This is the 30th year of the air show, and this year it will be taking place this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, the 17th and 18th. This year's show will be featuring the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, but it's going to look quite a bit different in the form of a drive-in air show and parade. Spectators will be able to enjoy the show while remaining socially distant in the comfort of their own vehicles and parking spaces, with special FM radio channels for event commentary and music. I'll have more on this weekend's air show tomorrow night at 6, but for now, Michael and Nomi, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. That is going to be a terrific event. When we come back from the break, a local movie theater is struggling and needs your help.
And UNT's music school is putting on a performance that you won't want to miss. Stay with us. We have good news for Disney Plus fans. The major entertainment company plans on making a major overhaul. Disney announced that they would put more focus on Disney Plus, their streaming platform. This decision was made in an attempt to recover from revenue losses. The coronavirus pandemic hurt Disney's profit this year by postponing films and productions. COVID-19 also shut down Disney parks and resorts for most of this year. After their announcement about streaming, Disney stocks rose roughly 5%. If you're not up for Disney streaming services, a local business could take care of your problem. This year in Texas, more than 11,000 businesses have closed their doors, either permanently or temporarily. Over 100,000 small businesses across the country have closed this year. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, in Denton, Movie Tavern on West University is struggling to stay afloat. It reopened in August, but business is still slow. Movie Tavern is taking COVID precautions, adding promotions and limiting its hours.
We did shut down for the pandemic in mid-March, and what we did from March going forward, every weekend we sold popcorn at curbside on weekends. It was amazing, especially the support from all the citizens here in Denton. And then we reopened to a full schedule of movies every single day back in late August, and we recently actually are now open only on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. And from every step that you make inside the lobby, to the bar, to the restrooms, to the hallways, and even to the theaters, you're going to find some extra steps that we've taken to make sure our guests are safe.
Movie Tavern will also be hosting trivia nights every other Tuesday. You can go to their website and Facebook page for updated hours and all COVID-related information.
The UNT College of Music is trying something new this year. Using graphics, technology, and of course, music, this concert hopes to bring more life into the theater. Take a look.
The UNT College of Music is one of the largest and most renowned music schools throughout the nation. One ensemble offered through the UNT Music Composition program is the brand new Electronics Ensemble, also dubbed E Squared. The ensemble's goal is to produce a 1-hour audiovisual experience produced entirely by students using electronic software. Max Windsor, a UNT sophomore music composition student, told me about his experience in E Squared.
It combines music, obviously, because we're making electronic music, and then there's the whole entire visual side to it, which involves art and knowledge on computers. One thing I love about this ensemble is being able to combine so many of my interests, which is like really unique to any other ensemble I've ever been able to be a part of.
To create the production, members are utilizing various techniques and skills.
I'm learning sound design, I'm learning video editing, I'm learning 3D animation, I'm learning, teamwork.
Originally, the ensemble planned to showcase their production at the Merrill Ellis Intermedia Theater on campus.
We have the MEIT, which hopefully at some point we'll be able to show the video in there, and it has, like a bazillion speakers and like a really cool screen. It's pretty awesome.
Not only are members learning the ins and outs of audiovisual production, they're also getting to know each other.
Oh yeah, definitely. All the people in Electronics Ensemble are great. It's really nice to collaborate with them and work together on this project, and it's all around a great time.
E Squared is just another example of UNT's forward-thinking approach to music education, and is sure to be an incredible experience for UNT music composition students.
E Squared has yet to announce when the production will be released. A rough weekend for Texas as far as sports. Our sports anchor, Zach Fox, gives the latest.
Cancellations, eliminations, and anticipations regarding today's sports news. Stick around to know the details after the break. Southlake Carroll and Denton Guyer are set to square off Friday, and the game was supposed to be planned to broadcasted on ESPN2. However, COVID-19 once again has the upper hand in the sports world as a positive case was reported on the Carroll sideline, and the game has been canceled. 25 games in the DFW area have been canceled this season, and 9 games canceled just last week. So far, Carroll and Guyer join Arlington, Lamar, and Prosper to have cancellation as well. Guyer, number 4 in the state, and Carroll, number 11 in the state, faced off last year, where Carroll won a shootout 46-34. However, this weekend's game will not be made up and will be ruled no contest, and tickets will be refunded. A bipolar roller coaster ride of a season for the Houston Astros thus far, from reaching the World Series to caught cheating, then make the playoffs and beat the Twins and A's, to now on the brink of being swept into elimination. After leading 1-0 for the first 5 innings, the Rays bats, along with Jose Altuve's error, helps plot a 5-run 6 as the Rays hold on to the lead and get the victory in Game 3, 5-2. The Astros World Series champion odds now drop to 1%, while Tampa Bay leads the postseason odds at 42%. Game 4 is tonight in San Diego at 7:40. It seems like the Mean Green are rowing the same boat. After winning their first game of the season, a 3-game slump ensued. Most recently losing at home to the winless Charlotte 49ers 49-21. Home field disadvantage for UNT so far. Having played only home games, the Mean Green look for a remedy. And who would have thought that maybe leaving Apogee Stadium may save our season? UNT travels to face a struggling 1-4 Middle Tennessee as both squads look to gain traction. ESPN has officially called the game a pillow fight of the week. Austinani has been the outlier, the lone positivity on Saturday nights. 382 yards passing last week, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. UNT defense, however, allowed 291 yards rushing and 308 yards passing. UNT had the football for only a third of the game. UNT looks for Groundhog's Day to officially end and get back on the winning side of things Saturday at 4. Fingers are officially crossed. Michael and Nomi, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Well, although the weather hasn't felt like fall, the warm weather has been pretty pleasant. What do you think, Michelle and Ben?
Yeah, guys, me and Ben are still out here at the airport. As you can see, it's quite sunny and the sun is beginning to set. We're going to get some of those golden hour lights. The temperature is also going to drop later into tonight. It's going to stay nice throughout the week and perfect this weekend for the air show here in Fort Worth. Ben?
Yeah, that's right, Michelle. The weather is going to be absolutely beautiful for this year's air show. I can't wait. I'll be here all weekend, and I will have more on the air show coverage tomorrow night at 6, as well as if you can't make it to the show, I will have more coverage next week. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much, Guy. Well, hopefully the weather stays a little warmer for just a little longer.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.